I mean, everybody thinks that life is always going to be about the next thing, you know, and I mean, I'm already, this is fun. In a way, Seymour and I are getting to know each other in a different way, doing the promotion. You know, it's always interesting. There's every project has its own life. You know, there's the inception period when we're having dinner and it's all like, is this going to be real? Is it not? There's the shooting. Are we going to finish? Are we not? You know, there's the post-production editing and all that. And now there's this period. But I had never wanted to make a documentary. You know, this came to me. This happened to me as much as it happened to you. I feel like it seemed like the right thing to do every day that it happened, and it's teaching me now. It's such a wonderful thing to get to do. We've done a couple of these film festivals, and I've been going to doing film festivals and press conferences, you know, since I was 18, right? And this is the first time I came out of Toronto, like feeling like I'd been on a spiritual retreat. You know, like, because you do interviews with you and you find yourself talking about these big subject matters. You know, it's been rewarding by the doing of it. You know, there's no like little pithy statement I can give you that wraps it all up with a bow. But this right now, getting to have a continued dialogue with other people. I mean, you love to teach, and so in a way, the documentary is just an extension of that. It's an extension of Seymour's book. It's an extension of something that he's been doing his whole life. And I'm riding your wake.
But something came out, I think in Toronto, during a Q&A period. First of all, I learned more from you during the Q&A periods than I did from any other time. In our discussions, things come out. And something revealed itself to me during one of those sessions. I was trying to think of why it is that you and I were drawn to each other. Well, actors and performing musicians are not creative people. They're recreative people, right?
Interpretive artists.
After all, when you played Macbeth, that score was already written, and you had to recreate it. If I play Beethoven's sonata, my task is to recreate that Beethoven sonata. There's nothing creative about it. However, in the way you do it, one might say that you have a potential to create your own art form. And what is akin to both of us is that you and I are both recreative and creative people. You write, and I compose and write. And now you make this documentary that's purely creative. So that's very rare in our sense.
I think you and I both think it should be less rare. I mean, I hear you say that to your students all the time, and I feel that way. So many, you know, actors have a writer in them that's dying to come out, and they don't give themselves permission because they'll be scared they look foolish. I even, as I watch, because I really grow older and study cinema, like if you look at Jack Nicholson's performance, it's hard to imagine that he's not. There's a writer in him.
He has written.
But I see the writer in him in almost all those performances.
But does he write?
He does.
He's written some
scripts. He wrote quite a few scripts. He directed some films. He also rewrote a lot of his own
So
dialogue.
what I told Ethan,
yes.
to Ethan, you have to take a sabbatical for 6 months.
My wife had a cardiac arrest, as he keeps saying.
I said this in front of Ryan, she's going to call you. And I said, you have to write the first great American book.
The first one. Tell that to Eugene O'Neill. But what was the thing? You know what I wish was in the documentary that I heard you say the other day? You told me is what was the thing that your teacher? You were like, it was the first grade teacher, the woman you were telling me about 14 or 15. She said to you something about the moon.
Oh, Clara Husserl.
Yeah.
Because I was 14 or 15, and she took me in hand. That was my first grade piano teacher. She was a pupil of a legendary teacher by the name of Lechatitsky. He taught all the great pianists. artists of the 1900s. Zarevsky, you name them, they all studied with her. And she studied with a professor when she was 17. So you can picture this. I had this tradition. Well, she took me everywhere with her, and she was the one who took me to Carnegie Hall for the first time. So I picked her up at her house, and it was a beautiful moonlight night. And there was a church across the street from where she lived. And when she came out of the house, she saw the priest and some of the parishioners on the steps of the church with the moon shining over the spire. And she said in a loud voice so that they could all hear, "Sonny," that was my family name, "Sonny, look at that moon up there, and those fools in there are trying to tell us where God is." That's how I was brought up.
Yeah.
And on the way back, she said, "Sonny, you know, we always had beer houses in Vienna where I studied. I'm going to take you for a beer." So she took me into a dive, this 14-year-old, and she ordered 2 beers. So I had a wonderful background.